Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of One Vision and our brand new season, the Fintech Fuse. This is Theo, your host for the episode, along with Stephanie Foster, my partner in crime, and a surprise guest co-host today, Amelia Wainscott. Welcome, ladies. And today we are even more delighted to see good things come in force. So we want to welcome Lori Shao, CEO of Finli, to join the show with us. I think this is the first time, Steph, that we actually have 4 ladies in here. Fascinating.
First, but not the last.
Wow. Not the last. Yes. Awesome. And we're not doing this like, Women in Fintech podcast or anything. We just happen to have 4 brilliant women talking about Fintech. So, Lori, before we get into Finli, which is your latest baby, can you walk us through a little bit about your career journey and how you got started in the space and where you are right now?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I am so delighted to be here and see 3 additional women on the virtual room. It is very rare to see because I'm typically one of just one, the only woman in a virtual room of men, whether we're fundraising or just pitching to, potential partners. So I love it. A little bit about my background. I've been in financial services for over 22 years. Prior to building Finli about 3 years ago, I spent my entire professional career in financial services. So working with financial institutions like, JP Morgan, Silicon Valley Bank, Wells Fargo, and so forth. So very much household names that supports the business community. And my role in, my prior life has really been just building financial technology, scaling financial technology infrastructure to support what we consider the small but mighty. So under-supported communities, small businesses that are looking to do good, but lacking in resources and access to do that. And really, on a higher level is to really challenge the horrendous stats that majority of small businesses fail within the first 10 years in business. I mean, why is that? What are they lacking? What are the bridges? What are the gaps that we need to bridge? Right. And that really led me to Finli. So the genesis of Finli is really a combination of kind of professional data points where, hey, I'm working with all these innovative companies. I felt so privileged to have a front row seat to see who is innovating what for which market. How are these disrupting and transforming certain verticals, right, that historically have been under supported? And what is the pipeline of innovation? And that data point coupled with my own personal life, right? I'm a mom to 2 young kids. My husband and I will work full time. We are the product of the sandwich generation where we have seniors who are regressing and very needy. And so we just cannot survive and function without the support of community-based businesses, whether it's the daycare centers, the senior centers, the people who come and clean your home, the pool services, pest control, landscaper, right? Like you take a step back and you're like, holy moly, like how are we able to do anything without the support of all these amazing businesses? And what was really unfortunate is that these amazing businesses that are recession-proof, long-term customers, like very little churn and just doing amazing work that demonstrates value day in and day out. But they lacked access to the right tools and resources to help them get to the next level. And I think the wake-up call was one day when our cleaning person was super apologetic. And she was like, hey, Lori, I know you guys are busy, but I'm sorry to bother you. You forgot to pay me for the last 2 months. And I was just mortified. I was like, oh my goodness, I am sorry. Like, you should not be apologizing to me. It's on me, that I failed to put a calendar reminder to take out some cash and put it under my vase for you. And it just dawned on me that these amazing businesses, why are they not able to learn how to use Venmo? Like, why are they not able to leverage the existing technology out there, like, QuickBooks solution or Square, Stripe, like all of these like abundant technology and solutions out there for them to function. And then I realized that all of the existing solutions out there was not built with this audience in mind. It's the intentionality, is the, and that leads and influences product development, and everything that we do, at Finli is, rooted at who our ideal customer profile is the small but mighty, right? It's the landscapers, the pool services, is our cleaning person who've had to feel so apologetic, even though she's doing so much lift for our household, to say that, hey, you forgot to pay me. Like, what are some of the solutions that we can build to support her and businesses like her, and also make it easier for families like ours to continue to function harmoniously, like in this ecosystem. And so that's kind of like the personal data point that triggered action on my part. And, taking a few steps back even further, I'm a first generation immigrant to parents who were blue collar entrepreneurs. When my parents and I immigrated to the US, they couldn't speak English. They didn't have a lot of resources. They couldn't get a 9-to-5 job, right? And so that's why over 30% of small business owners are immigrants, because like, what else can you do other than to start a business with your two hands and try to put food on the table and create a better life for your family? And at the core, or in my heart, the reason why, I also felt like this is the time to build Finli was because Finli didn't exist for my parents 30 years ago. And 30 years later, not much has changed for those who look like my parents. And so it was not just like one thing that triggered the beginning of Finli. It was multiple data points that gave me the courage and confidence to say, you know what, I do feel that I am the best person to build this, because I truly care and understand this space. And I've been equipped and very fortunate to have this financial, institution, technology background where I know how to build the right size technology. And I know in my heart who to build this for. And I know that there isn't or aren't many, technology startups that are building with this intention in mind. So all of that led to the genesis of Finli, and I am extremely ecstatic to build Finli from the ground up, and also proud to say that we are a certified B Corp. Because we have to be reminded daily on why we do what we do, who we're building this for. We're here to transform an antiquated environment. We're here to support and wield change for an undersupported market that is vast, but lacking in the right resources and tools that were built for them. And so here we are. And lastly, Finli stands for financial lift, right? So every way you slice and dice Finli, I hope that the mission and the vision of Finli is, as clear as day.
I love the way that you frame this, Lori. And you know what? Yes, you are the best person to build this, because you've lived it on both ends, right? From the consumer side and from the retail side. I, for one, am super excited that Lori went on this journey to build Finli, because that's how we met. That's what brought us together. Lori was recently a part of the accelerator program at the ICBA and the Fintech Accelerator, and graduated with honors earlier this year. So I'm just stoked to have the opportunity for us to catch up. That it's been months since you graduated from the program. One of the things that I really do admire about you, Lori, is the fact that when you pitch your company, you always lead with mission first. And I know for four of us on the podcast today, mission driven is a part of our nature, for sure. So, your mission is to support small business owners. So can you tell us, why is that so important to you?
So important because we need to level the playing field for these small, medium-sized micro businesses, right? I don't feel like there is a lack of drive and inspiration and aspiration and skills, right, for entrepreneurs everywhere. But it is the lack of resources that is hindering them from reaching new heights. And if we are able to supplement, the confidence that they have to support them to do the things that they dream of building and doing, then I think the world will be a better place, for all of us and our children. Just like my parents 30 years ago, I don't feel like they lacked drive and ambition. They know how to run a business. They are amazing entrepreneurs, great at negotiation, and they're super resourceful. But because the lack of resources, right, to help them reach new heights, whether it's access to capital or preparation to even have access to capital or even to be bankable, right? There is a lot of hurdles that these business owners in the traditional landscape, lack. And I do feel like for those of us who recognize this gap, we have a sense of responsibility to fill those gaps with resources or solutions, right, to help them do their job better. And so that's definitely in our DNA and the mission of Finli to build everything that we can to help them do more, do better.
And you're not just building it for one particular type of business, right? You're industry agnostic. You mentioned earlier you can serve the daycare, the landscaper, the house cleaner, the small business owner around the corner, the small bodega and all that. You have tens of thousands of SMBs that are across all these very, very unique verticals within your customer base. And you're expanding also to serve community banks as well. What has contributed to you scaling so quickly? Congratulations on that, by the way. That's real measure of success. And what advice can you share with other founders when it comes to scaling a SaaS solution?
Well, scaling a SaaS solution for the small and micro business arena is actually, it's very challenging. It's probably the toughest market I've ever ventured into and explored, because it's not like it's clearly defined. Oh, we just sell to Google and Amazon and we know how to navigate through the organization because they have clearly defined roles and responsibilities, budget, playbook, right? They know how to ingest solutions like yours. For small micro businesses, there isn't a playbook, right? What influences them to buy is actually very difficult to pinpoint, because it could be anything. It could be just a situation that happened that triggered them to, browse and look for a solution because they just can't take it anymore. And I think the biggest challenge that we have to penetrate the small, medium-sized business space is truly distribution, right? Because if you think about how small businesses buy, and what they're influenced by, for the most part, is their peers, is what they understand, is community. And for an up-and-coming Finli that is not an Intuit QuickBooks, we don't have brand recognition. We have to be smarter about how we acquire these businesses. Do I go and knock on doors to the local tutoring center block, and hand out my business cards? That is not scalable for a venture-backed startup. Right? I would be laughed out the door by every single one of our VCs if that was the case. But then at the same time, if I try to acquire them digitally, I can't compete and buy the keywords that a Stripe and a Square and a QuickBooks can afford, millions of dollars a month just for kind of invoicing, billing, right? And so what can we do that is very strategic and different? Like, how do we pierce through the noise and to try to capture their attention? And that is kind of that's actually how we are very much differentiated from the crowd, is our distribution. So we go after community-based organizations, whether it's cities, municipalities, CDFIs, business centers, that have a curated, highly engaged audience of small businesses, right? That trust them to be the source of truth, to be the advisor and confidant, to provide them the resource materials for them to do business. And so for us to piggyback off of those local trusted advisors, it's actually how we got our start. And migrating or evolving into, financial institutions like community banks, it was a moment earlier this year where I'm just who else in the community are trusted by small businesses? Who else in the community are incentivized to see small business succeed? right? And who else in the community provides a solution where our solution is complementary to? And so it was just a logical evolution for us to explore community banks. And thank goodness for ICBA and the Fintech Accelerator that opened doors for us because, don't get me wrong, I tried my best to go at it myself. I called the local community bank. They won't return my calls. I didn't know how to navigate through the gatekeeper, the multiple levels of gatekeeper, because it's a very closed community. They trust each other. And I'm an outsider who's never worked at a community bank before, nor do I have a Rolodex of people to call. And so with us being a part of the Fintech Accelerator, it supercharged and accelerated our understanding and access to community bankers. Having connected to now over 100, community bank C-suites just in the past, 4 or 5 months, it is gold, right? It's like, where else can I have the opportunity and access to accelerate that learning? And once we have these conversations, it was very, very obvious to me that this is the right place for us. This is the exact place where we need to be, because community bankers, they care about their community. They care about small business. They love business accounts and business relationship, because once they're able to bring in a new business relationship, not only do they have the relationship of the business, but the owners and the employees, right? There's just exponential opportunity when you are supporting a business. And then at the same time, where do we add value, right? A community bank have a whole suite of amazing bank products, whether it's bank accounts and debit cards and credit cards and lending products. But a community bank is never going to build a CRM. They're never going to build inventory management, right? They're never going to build a subscription billing service for their business, or like a DocuSign, integration, or like all of the things that we have off the shelf. I would say is very much complementary to the existing suite of solutions that community bankers already offer to their customer base. But then the problem with the community banks that they experience is there's deposit flight risk. There's the relationship churn, right? That they're constantly experiencing with this new wave of neobanks and fintechs that's saying, hey, I'll give you inventory management, but you have to use my debit card. So next thing you know, these amazing business relationships are straddling multiple different platforms. They have some accounts at Chase, some accounts at the neobank, some balances, in PayPal and Venmo, and they're using Square for other things. And so where is the relationship? Like, where does the community bank sit within the overall relationship management, platform for these businesses? But by weaving in a Finli, we can help them and beef up their toolbox to displace all of the different financial technology platforms out there and really allow these community bankers to be the de facto, right? Truly be that champion for their businesses and their community, just by weaving in Finli, embedding Finli in a white label form. So I would say, yes, tactically, it totally makes sense for us to get into the community bank ecosystem. But at the same time, the more I learn about this ecosystem, the more I feel like, why is the community bankers the first call during COVID, but then the last to be, considered when it comes to, I just, brought in $1 million. Where can I put this? And so what we want to do is we want to come in and be that innovative sister company that's joined at the hip to these community bankers, right? And be like, you can continue to be the first call for your customers. And you can also compete against the Squares, the Venmos, the PayPals out there if you have us in your back pocket. And we are here to help you innovate and catch up, right, to all of the different innovation out there and help you better support your business banking customers, so that at the end of the day, we are transforming this antiquated ecosystem, right, in banks, because, clearly banks and healthcare are the two oldest and toughest to innovate ecosystems. And how do we help them, right? How do we help them advance? How do we help them compete? And that's kind of been our focus this year. And it's been amazing. So much learnings, and we're just inspired every day by these amazing bankers doing great work.
I think listening to you, I'm inspired. For those who are listening, obviously you can't see Lori's excitement, but I can feel your passion coming through. And it's it's exciting. That's one of the questions we often ask when we look at fintech. Why do we exist? What is the raison d'être? That's what I always ask entrepreneurs. And what you just stated so eloquently fits the mission, the purpose that we were just talking about, right? What is your mission? Your mission is to support small business owners and also, as you say, be joined at the hip with community banks. And that's how we can grow and adapt together. I do want to ask you though, knowing what you know now, right? Having gone through the journey of reaching out originally to the community-based organizations, the trusted advisors, and then adding on the community banks, SBA, and whatnot, would you have changed anything at all?
Absolutely. I would have I'd have called Stephanie and trying to join the Think Tech Accelerator from the beginning, because this is just it's night and day, because just like our small business customers, as they are struggling every day to find direction, right? What is product market fit for them? How do they safeguard against competition? How do they pierce through the noise and differentiate themselves? We've been in this phase where we are, we have trying to throw stuff on the wall and seeing what sticks, right? And after a couple of years of throwing random stuff on the wall, this is clearly the direction that we need to go, and we are fully committed to supporting and transforming the community bank ecosystem. With our just integrations to core banking providers, digital online providers, and really allocating majority of our technical resources to make it easy for community banks to use Finli and weave Finli in to the native environment. If we were to start this 3 years earlier, I think the progress would be exponentially more favorable for us. But it's never too late, right? It's all about trial and error and learning, and that's why we have an appreciation for Think Tech and Stephanie and Amelia and the rest of the team.
Stephanie, you didn't pay anyone off, right?
No comment. Hashtag no comment.
This is amazing, though. I mean, what better testimony can you give, right, to the power of community, to the power of accelerators, to the power of what you guys are doing, gals are doing, than this, seeing it thrive. And I love hearing stories about B Corp. It's one of my favorite stories. I remember the first time I think we had a B Corp here was I think it was Andre with Aspiration. That was a while ago. But so I want to ask you, of all the entrepreneurs and small business owners that you have worked with, and clearly you're super passionate about that, starting from your personal experience, essentially, what are some of your favorite stories? We love stories.
Yes, absolutely. So, and I hope it's okay that I name drop. My favorite, I have so many favorites, but this one is the most memorable for me because her name is Jennifer Wang. She is the owner of Wushu Unlimited. Is an after-school program with martial arts lessons or classes in a local facility in Monrovia, California. And she left her corporate job to support her husband, who is teaching in this school. They started their school at a park because they couldn't afford a facility. So they started their school at a park, just taking on children who wants to learn martial arts. And in 7 years, fast forward 7 years, they have their warehouse, they have their facility. They are supporting hundreds of families and households in the local community, and they're just amazing. And when she first came to us, they were using, a combination of Excel spreadsheets. They have like a whole ledger of inventory because, you can provide services, but at the same time, you have inventory. We have like uniforms, you have like belts, you have like a lot of different things. And that everything was just kept on an Excel spreadsheet. And the trigger for her was there was like 1 month where she had to send out a manual invoice to maybe like half of our households for the 3 months prior billing because she had forgotten to bill her customers for 3 months. And she was like, that was like very, very embarrassing. And then there was also a likelihood of complaints. There was a likelihood of the families not having sufficient funds to handle this. And she's like, we just have to like leverage technology. We have to embrace technology. And she was one that came from corporate America, very, very familiar with the power of automation, right? But there was just a lack of a right size solution for them. So she was using a combination of, Excel spreadsheets and PayPal and, and Square and various other things. And it just wasn't, it just didn't work. It just didn't do it for her. And then when she migrated onto Finli, not only was she able to like support and delight her customers, but grow her customer base. And she was also not only able to grow her customer base, but add additional product lines because she then realized, which is the biggest problem that many small business owners fail to realize early on, which is the value of time. Because when they feel like, I can actually do this, I'll just carve out 4 hours, the end of every week to reconcile, to bill, to send things out. There's human errors, there's time, there's missed opportunity that she could spend with her kids. There's missed opportunity that she could like be creative and strategic and think about creating another like product SKU, right? There's a lot of different opportunity missed or lost because of the time involved in the administrative burden that she was just so numb to. And I love her story because she checked all the boxes of our ideal customer profile at the time. It's like trying to embrace technology, but just couldn't figure it out, trying to like manage and grow her business, but she was just capped out on how many new businesses she can bring on because every new business was just adding to more mess exponentially, right? That led to not being able to bill for 3 months straight. And then, she never went on vacation. Because every time she goes on vacation, there's a new kid that's now in school that wasn't onboarded correctly because her husband just like allowed them to come in. Every time she goes somewhere, she like, can't reconcile the inventory because her husband's like, oh, you have a hole in your shirt. Here's another one. It's super cute how they're running their business, but like their story is really the essence of small business. Like they're trying so hard to make it work. Right? They're trying so hard to make it work, but really they just needed a little bit help, a little bit of automation, a little bit something, right? So that they can do more. And then, they have been on Finli. They've been the early adopters of Finli, been on Finli for about 3 years. And now they're able to take on more customers. They're able to really quantify their growth. They're not losing any more inventory to human errors. And they're rocking and rolling, and that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do for small business. We want to empower them to do more, whether you're content to be a solopreneur of one, or you have the aspiration to grow your facility, have more locations, bring on more employees. Like you can do that if you have us in your back pocket. So I mention her because her story, is very much the essence of all of our businesses on Finli.
So Lori, I'm curious, I know that I just graduated and ICVA and the Think Tech Accelerator is kind of my first big career step. So I'm curious if you have one piece of advice or if there's something that you wish you know when you were my age, when you were just starting your career out.
I would say I'm very envious of your age, by the way. Because I remember being very fearless, at your age, and my advice would be to really take advantage of that fearlessness and take that first step in anything that you want to pursue. Because as we get older, priorities change, and that fearlessness becomes less and less obvious for me, right? Because then you have a sense of responsibility for my children. Oh, is this the right time? My kids are still so young, but my husband is self-employed. Maybe I should still keep my daytime job so we can have stability. There's like a lot of more and more noises, will be echoing in your years as you continue to get older, versus if I just took that leap of faith. You know what? Regardless if I fail or succeed, I'm learning, I'm just going to do it, right? Because if you don't do it, you're just going to be, you're going to be held back by time. And I would say my biggest regret, and which is also my recommendation to to you, Amelia, is just like seize the moment and that fearlessness and just go for it, because it's only going to get harder.
Thank you. I love that. I'm gonna remember it.
Seize the moment.
So Stephanie, So Stephanie, like if Amelia leaves you because she's then starting a startup next week, not my fault.
I'm gonna be calling Lori now to see what advice are you giving on a podcast, Lori?
Yeah, I actually have evidence of it, right? Since it's recorded. Oops. But you said it so right though. Seize the moment, and I think doesn't matter where you are, right? And your career path, Amelia, even if it's like your second job, third job, seize the opportunity, because oftentimes we don't know what we're going to end up with and what future holds. So I just love this. Can I say I really like this episode, Steph? Thank you for bringing the amazing, amazing team here. This is lovely. We have like multi-generations. Oh my God. I'm the elder. But this is super cool. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, Lori. If people want to find your app or download your app, where do they go to, and where can they go to learn more about what you do?
Yes, they can visit us at finli.com. Finli.com stands for financial lift again, so it should be easy to remember. Finli.com. You can find all the information about, our history, what we're working on, our roadmap, and be a part of the change,
Be part of the change. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I think next time when we do talk again, it's probably going to be, well, I wouldn't say it probably, it will be tens of thousands, not just, but hundreds of thousands of SMBs whose lives you're going to be changing. So I look forward to hearing more. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lori and Amelia. Thank you so much for joining us. First time, hopefully, and I know it's not going to be the last. And for the rest of our audience, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of One Vision, Fintech Fuse. We will talk to you all next week.